Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds his girlfriend cheating on him with his sister's boyfriend. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. My girlfriend and I had only been together a couple of months when we decided to go on a camping trip with my sister and her new boyfriend. I've always been really close to my sister. There's only a year-and-a-half age gap between us, with me being the oldest. So we've always been friends as well as siblings. Both of us love the outdoors and go hiking and camping fairly often. We hadn't had a chance to get together lately, so we thought a camping trip would not only get us back in the outdoors, but give us the chance to meet each other's new significant others and spend some time with them. We all carpooled and had a great time on the way up to where we were going to camp. It was about an hour's drive into the middle of nowhere. We stopped and stocked up on some beer at the little corner gas station about a mile away from the campsite. After that, there was nothing but forest. Not many people came up the way, but there's a small trail at the end of the dirt road. If you followed the trail for about a half mile, there was a little clearing that made for a perfect camping spot. We set up camp quickly and got settled in. We were planning on spending 2 nights in total. When it got dark, we got a fire going and sat back to have a few drinks. We talked and laughed all night. We were all pretty tipsy, except for my sister, who wasn't much of a drinker and had been sipping on Diet Coke instead. I caught myself off after a bit, but the other two definitely didn't. The fire had started to die down, but we weren't quite ready to call it a night. My girlfriend insisted on going to gather some more firewood. I was going to go with her when my sister's boyfriend volunteered, saying that he needed to stretch his legs. I didn't really think much of it, but after they had been gone almost a half an hour, we started to get a little worried about them. There were plenty of dry sticks and branches laying around, and it shouldn't have taken them very long. We decided to go look for them just in case they had got turned around in the dark and couldn't find their way back to camp. We went a little way in and didn't see any sign of them. We were about to start calling out when we heard low voices coming from off the trail. We followed the sound until we spotted them ahead of us through the trees. They were leaning up against a tree, drunkenly going at it. We snuck back to camp, then tried to decide what to do. Neither of us wanted to stay, and both of us were beyond pissed. So we packed up our things as fast as we could, hiked back to the car, and took off. Guess they'll be in for a surprise when they stumble back to camp. Update. Needless to say, within a few hours, we started getting frantic calls from them. They weren't happy at having to hike over a mile to the gas station to call for a ride home. My sister and I both cut off their BS when they started berating us by stating what we saw. I think that sobered them up. The happy couple ended up staying together for barely a month before they split. She started calling me again wanting to get back together, but that's definitely a no. I can't imagine what was going through your ex's and her AP's heads that night. It was definitely clouded with alcohol, but that doesn't excuse anything. You and your sister handled the situation well. I can't imagine how the ride home would have felt if you two hadn't left them behind. Cheaters never really last together. When the thrill and the excitement are gone, the relationship will also go with it. It's good that you've moved on from her. You and your sister definitely deserve way better than them. Story 2. I'm posting this from my friend's place where I'll be for a few days, at least before going to a hotel for a while. Unfortunately, I discovered that this sub exists after having something done to me that I never thought in a million years would ever happen. My 27 male, wife 26 of 3 years, has been having an affair for a year with a colleague of hers. I know him personally. I found out through her Gmail account on her laptop, which was left logged in. I had zero intention of checking her email. I just saw it there, and the text caught my eye. After this, I checked her phone and confirmed everything. I'm not gonna lie, this kind of blindsided me. We have, or I guess had, a good relationship. We were regularly intimate, never really got angry at each other. We met in college and dated for almost 2 years before getting married. We were thinking of having kids in a year or two now that I have a good paying job, and have been progressing in my career. I actually wasn't suspicious at all. She's intelligent and clearly did well to cover her tracks. She never came home late at night or acted distant, cold with me, or not been intimate with me. Not once did she tell me she was feeling unsatisfied or unhappy in our relationship. I had no idea anything was wrong at all, or I would have tried to fix it. Through her texts and emails, I saw that they usually get together during their lunch breaks, or they leave work early and go to a hotel or motel. The other guy isn't married, but he does have a long-term girlfriend. Haven't told her yet, haven't spoken to the other guy either. I took the day off work yesterday. I left a note on the table for my wife, and I left for my friend's place. I told him everything. Sure enough, when she got home, she called and texted several times. I didn't answer at first, but I did eventually, and she immediately started crying hysterically and pleading with me for forgiveness, saying it was a stupid mistake and she'll do anything to reconcile. We talked for a while, but I didn't really say anything of substance, and I haven't yet decided what I'm going to do. I'm not gonna lie, I love her, but I can't stand betrayal of any kind, and this is up there. The thing is, when I was 18, I fell into a very dark depression, and it was the hardest thing in the world to pull myself out of. Took me 3 years, and the only thing that helped was exercise and boxing. And now I feel myself slipping back in that hole. And as much as I love her, I also feel an intense hatred for her and the other guy. I'm debating confronting the other guy and badly hurting him, but my friend has insisted that I don't. I know my emotions are controlling me right now, which is why I wanted to be away from my wife and our apartment for a while, so I can allow logic to at least get a foothold in my brain. I know if I see her crying, I'll start to feel sympathy for her, which I don't want to. Right now, my logical part says to divorce her, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I have thought about whether I'll ever trust her again, and I think the answer is no. Here's the thing. I consider myself to be a fair person, and I always try to see both sides of the coin. I was looking around forums of infidelity, and I came across subreddit adultery. I thought it would be similar to this sub. Quickly found out it was the opposite. However, I read through a few posts, hoping I could try and understand my wife's reasoning. Most of the posts were about the thrill of something new, the sexual satisfaction, trying to escape the unhappiness in their marriage, etc. The thing is, I'm not just saying this. I can't see how we had any of those problems. My wife was always intelligent and mature, which is why no matter how hard I try, I can't understand this. She repeatedly told me over the phone that it meant nothing, and she regrets it more than anything. But then, why do it? I asked her why, and she just kept saying she doesn't know and it was a lapse in judgment, etc. A year-long lapse in judgment? I'm questioning everything now, wondering if I've wasted years for nothing. Wondering if I'll ever trust another woman again. At the moment, I can't see myself ever being in a relationship again. I'm not naive enough to think people are infallible, but what's the point of committing yourself to someone if you're just gonna find someone else? Anyway, that's it. I had to let this all out somewhere, even online. Not sure yet what my next step is, but at the moment, I can't see the marriage lasting. Her mother, whom I really like, has called me thrice, but I haven't answered. I haven't told anyone about it except my close friend that I'm staying with. I do have screenshots of the emails and texts between them as proof in case I need it. Edit. Thanks for all your comments and time, everyone. I really do appreciate it a lot. Few things that have come up repeatedly. I've decided not to fight the other guy. It was just my emotions getting the best of me at the time. I will be getting an STD test and telling her to do the same. No compromise there. At the moment, I'm leaning towards separating, because I can't see how I'll ever look at her the same way again. I still need some time to think, and will have to have a long talk with her. Her mother has since messaged me asking to please call her. She's a very good person and was very motherly throughout my time knowing her, so I will be calling her to talk to her soon, before I talk to my wife. Really, thanks to all of you. I actually hate that there are so many comments because that means so many of you men and women had this happen to you. Posting this here and telling my story is helping me release it all, and I'll give you all an update when there is one. Update. So yesterday, I went for a long walk and called my mother-in-law. I didn't go into details, but I did mention that her daughter was seeing someone else behind my back for an extended period of time. She was understandably very upset and thankfully didn't try to force my hand into staying with my wife. We talked for a while and she asked me to give my wife a call, but I said I'll only do so when I'm ready to talk. I was walking over a bridge on my way back to my friend's place, and I'm not gonna lie, for a split second I thought of jumping off. Told myself it would make things a lot easier. I let go of that thought immediately and kind of laughed. It's crazy what our minds can come up with. Anyway, I think either tonight or tomorrow night I will sit down with my wife and talk. I'm afraid my mind is 99% made up that I'll be asking for a divorce, as I haven't been able to see any outcome where I won't be resentful towards her if we stay together. I will let her tell me everything she feels she has to say, and then we'll tell her my decision. I'm sorry this happened to you, OP. This definitely wasn't a mistake like your wife says. I'm sure even she doesn't believe it was a mistake. She had an affair for a year, and I'm guessing it would have continued if you didn't find out. That can't be a mistake. She obviously feels something for her AP. You're leaning towards divorcing her, and I agree with you. You should divorce her. You could try and reconcile, but how could you when she's not being honest with you and herself? You're also never gonna trust her again. You deserve better than to be in that kind of marriage. Divorce her, let her go on, and get together with her AP. They both deserve each other. If you can, I hope you also let AP's long-term girlfriend know about the affair. Now for some comments. Just came across your story and I wish you to be strong. As multiple people mentioned, it was not the spur of the moment. It was deliberate and meticulously hidden. Nevertheless, I wish you all the happiness in the world. Happiness that you can't reach with her in your life anymore. A year of putting you at risk. A year of keeping you in the dark. How many minutes do you really think it would have taken for her to tell you herself? Do you really think it would stop if you had not caught her? If she works with the guy, what's to stop her from going on with her affair and keeping it in the dark? I suggest you file and move on with your life. You're young and there are better women in this world. This is not a one-time mistake. This is 365 days of deception and betrayal. If she's capable of this, what else is she lying about? You are young. Please don't let it spoil you and make you bitter. You should walk. This wasn't a lapse in judgment, it was a long-term affair. You're lucky she didn't get pregnant and pin it on you. Walk away. I'll never fully understand why they try so hard to keep us, but I've definitely decided it's selfish and more about them and the comforts they're used to rather than us. Please know not all women are like this. And don't waste your time beating up the guy. He was just using her, and this has helped you see who she is. I'm sorry this happened to you.